jacket was a gas. Played a couple of songs from the past. The sound man says your bass player has balls, blasting on his Rickenbacker. You really know how to vibrate the walls. Rock me, baby.
Hello, everybody. Hey, I decided I'm going to go through a lot of these shirts. I don't know what to do with them. I've got like a big stack of these t-shirts. This is from the 90s. This is from the TV show, the original TV series. I don't know how many, if they went through other, but the first one, it was back in the 90s with the guy with the ponytail. And they had a thing where you could send in, I don't know, $5 or whatever it was, or a buck, I don't know. But anyway, you got one of these t-shirts. And this t-shirt's got all kinds of holes in it because obviously Bear, I must have been wearing it when I first got Bear. It's got little holes all over it. You can see from him climbing on my shoulders everywhere and, you know, walking around the park and stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, he was on my shoulders all the time. And so all my shirts that I wore back then, I've thrown a lot of them away because they were just so shredded. Maybe I should have, anyway, taken pictures of them. But yeah, I've thrown away quite a few of them. But anyway, let's get going here. This is Chemo Day 25, if I got that correct. And it's not good. I'm almost halfway and it's like, wow. So I was talking to the lady at the place today. Oh yeah, I went in there today and I realized, man, yesterday I left on bad terms. There's a lot of negative energy going on. You know, there was this one girl who was really upset because she told me not to use my phone, and I said, oh, they gave me permission. So she didn't like, you know, I circumvented her, so she didn't like that. She called the business manager, or somebody did, and when I was done, she came in, and then they all came in and kind of ganged up on me. So they won. They beat me up. It was a turf war. Their gang won. I conceded. I said, okay, you win. I won't violate your turf anymore. Goodbye. So I won't bring my phone out. So today I thought to myself, how do I kind of break the ice in case there's any residual tension left from yesterday? So I thought, I got to talk about something that they know about. And I realized that radiation, I want to know more about that radiation. They should be the experts on that. So I came up with a couple of questions on it. And then when I first walked in there, I said, hey, hello there. And then I said, I got a question. So I said, well, just like, let's go forward. So as I was taking off my shoes, in fact, I was talking and listening so much, I took off my socks too. They go, oh, you can keep your socks on. I go, oh, I forgot I was talking, you know, so I put my socks back on. But anyway, I asked them what flavor of radiation we use. Or I asked them like 2 or 3 different ways. She goes, huh? And I go, well, don't you have to start with an isotope or something, and then that's where you go? She goes, oh, no, that's not how we do it anymore. They said we used to use cobalt, and so you used to have some sort of radioactive cobalt. And yes, that's how they used to use radiation, and then they would just open a window and let it go, close the window. Oh no, you cook. That's it. Now, as I understand it, we've got kind of windows on this thing too that are supposedly blocking it and aiming it, but there's no radiation. They said there's no radiation in the room when the machine's off. It creates the radiation by 2 beams bombarding each other or something. So it's actually a process. This is radiation created by a process. I mean, maybe I should have known that. I mean, you know, but it's totally manual without any isotopes. That's the kind of thing that got me. So she said you can look it up online. So in fact, she called it radiation physics. She told me the name of the machine. In fact, I looked up at it and I forget what it is. I didn't memorize it very well. And so don't want to guess. But anyway, I might recognize it. But anyway, I'll look it up online. Hey, there goes Bear. Hey, Bear. Wait, you want to go outside? Just wait a minute. And so anyway, okay, where were we? Bear interrupted me. But yeah, my buddy. Okay, yeah, we've been getting along really good. He's been giving me lots of attention. He likes lots of attention. In the morning, it's like, okay, I'll feed you now. It's like, no, I'm sorry, you can keep petting me. And let's see, the chemo's gotten really bad. In fact, I have a emergency, or what they called it, urgent doctor visit with, I forget her name. Anyway, at my clinic, my Sierra Medical Clinic. And otherwise, I'd have to wait till August 10th. And I said, well, I'm kind of concerned. I've been chemotherapy, and one of my toes is turning purple. And by then, I might lose it. So I'd kind of like to see somebody before then. She goes, oh, wait a minute. Then she got me a same-day appointment. I asked her, and she goes, I said, maybe tomorrow morning? And she goes, no, I don't, it's got to be, I can only book you for today. And I got 2:30 and 2:20. And I go, oh, is today one of those 110 days? Because I hadn't looked, actually. And she goes, well, I don't know. So I go, okay. dude, actually, I told her the 2:20, and then at the end of the conversation, I said, "I'll make it the 2:30," because I had a chance to look on my calendar. And at 1 o'clock, I've got he does a live stream, I guess, of music, and I send in some music. So I don't know if some of my stuff's going to be in that live stream. So I'd like to have be watching that show. If he's going to give me any promo, I want to be there to know about it, and and thank him. But anyway, and plus I got to tell him that I totally changed my release plan. Last night, I totally decided, okay, when I first created my album release, the Scorpion Resurrection, this album I'm working on, it was based on the fact that I might not be alive in 3 months. I might not live till the end of the year. My doctor said he had a patient with a similar condition as mine. He said a month later it gotten in his liver. A month later he turned yellow and died. He was dead in like less than 3 months. So that was the kind of pep talk I get from my doctor. So anyway, when I started this whole project and these chemo things, I didn't know how long I was going to live. And as you've been updating you, I've come to realize that, hey, it looks like I'm going to live a little longer. Jeez. And plus, we know the extent of my cancer, because we didn't know my extent of my cancer for like a month. So for a whole month, I was thinking I might only have 2 months to live. And then a month's gone. I go, well, I guess I got 1 month. And then they finally told me that, okay, anyway, that looks like it's mostly all localized. I hadn't spread to my body yet. See, so that was the key word. Anyway, so I changed my release plan. Since I'm going to be alive more than 2 months, I decided to make my album release on my birthday. What better way to celebrate my birthday than to know I'm cancer-free? Or am I? So, here we go. By then, we will definitely know. It'll definitely be over, or anyway. So there we go. So let's do it. On February 4th, that's my album release, okay? In fact, I even moved the pre-release, closer to it. So the pre-release is like, I think in fact, I remember now, it's the day after Thanksgiving, because hopefully I'm giving thanks for that pre-release. And the pre-release was going to be the Scorpion Resurrection song when you got it on August 6th. But I decided on August 6th, and since I told everybody that I was going to have the Scorpion Resurrection song, I'll just release it as a single. So I'll release the single and just hold back on the album. So you can just buy the single. You don't have to buy the whole album right now. So that'll make it nicer. So you buy the single, and then that's September. This is August. So then in September, I'll have another single on the beginning of the month. I'm not going to say what it is right now. Chemo video with 2 videos joined together. All these little editing things I'm getting one little by little. But anyway, continuing where we left off, it turns out that was really cool. I got this call from my chemotherapist. I'll tell you about that just a second ago, because the moment he called, somebody started knocking on my door. So it's like, doctor, hold on. I had to open the door, and it turns out some guy is looking for a little kid that used to live here. And I think I know she is, a teenager. It looks like she's applying for college, so she must be 17, maybe turning 18. But I think just guessing. I didn't look at the name. But anyway, I just said, hey, I've been here for 1.5 years, so I don't know who that is. So that's all I needed to know. He was gone, then I talked to the doctor. Okay, so I talked to my chemotherapist. Actually, I didn't talk to my chemotherapist. This is the other guy who seems to, I think, be the senior, because his name is on everything. This guy's name doesn't seem to be on anything. So I talked to this guy. He called me back. And I'd be willing to say his name, but I'm starting to wonder if that might cause legal problems. I don't know what the confidentiality thing is. I mean, he's probably not supposed to talk about me. So maybe I'm not supposed to talk about him. I'm not familiar with that reverse side of that. Okay, but anyway, but he was really, really nice, really nice. I like this guy. And very informative and considerate and asking questions. And here's what we came up with. Okay, number 1, I can use lotion on my hands. My hands are dry. He said the skin is falling off faster than it's growing. That may not be the cut, so whatever. But he says that, things are going. And he says bottoms of the feet, that's normal. There'd be the pain and everything. But he said the bruising is because my skin is falling off faster than it can grow. So the bruising is actually from the bare skin being exposed, because the skin's falling off. So it's like an injured skin, there, because it's exposed. Now, to make this matter worse, I saw that thing this morning. I had my glasses on, but, I couldn't tell the bruise, whatever it is. It's like, well, I better clean it. And I always scrub the ends of my feet, my toenails with I got a brush, and I put some soap on it. And I brush to, get under my toenails a little bit. And then I brush, put some soap on there, rinse it off with soap. And then I do the other foot, and I scrub all my toenails, the ends of my toes. In fact, I even hold them in positions. I can take my baby toe. I have to put my finger between my baby toe and my next toe so it sticks out a little more, and I can grind on the end of it. Make sure I'm really getting it so he's not tucked in. So anyway, but yeah, I get all the ends of them. So anyway, I'm in there, I scrub in my feet, and I see the thing, and I scrub the sides of my feet because I have a real problem with my toenails. Maybe I'll show you someday. I had a surgeon, and a foot surgeon. It was a pediatrician, but he was a foot surgeon. I went to this guy, and I have a problem with my feet because my toenails on my big toes curl in on the sides. They look like what are we gonna, airplane hangers? But anyway, if this is the ground, they're like this, anyway, they hump up my toenails. And so what he said, well, they were digging in. So he says, well, what I'll do is I'll just narrow them. And so I had surgery to remove made four cuts in my things. Then he had to dig down and burn out with acid the roots so that they wouldn't grow back. Well, unfortunately, I think all four of them grew back to some extent. But it turns out that did not solve my problem. In fact, it almost made it worse because on my right toe, it's curled in even more to where it's like, not even going straight down. It's actually starting to buckle back in. It's starting to grab my toe. It's like, what the heck? It's like, do I have to cut off another sliver? But it's humping up. I looked at it this morning, and I could tell that this morning, and my toes humped up more. Why? Okay, so what is my toe problem? Here's the punchline. I have bone spurs. And maybe some president like to borrow them, but yeah, I got bone spurs, but on both big toes. Now, I'm not just saying that, I'm not just hypothesizing. I actually had a surgeon later when I said, hey, that surgery didn't work, so he did x-rays, and he said, oh, you got bone spurs. And I don't know if it's the same doctor, but he didn't do that before his surgery. He says, well, what we really need to do is we need to go underneath your toe and cut that bone spur, and then your toenail could lay down flat. So actually bone surgery. So anyway, I ended up with those things, and those things didn't work. So now I've got 12, 13 toenails. I got these extra little toenails sticking out, growing out on their own on the sides of my big toe. It's a mess. But anyway, so that's why when I see that bruise down there, it's like, oh, God. So anyway, but it's I'm exacerbating it, but that's the punchline, is I grind it, anyway, that's what I was trying to say, but because of these surgeries, and I got these gaps and this, these floating little things that stuff gathers underneath, I always try to scrub on the sides of my toenails, so that's normal for my big toes anyway. I always try to get in there because they're a little problematic because of the surgery. So anyway, when I was down there, I started thinking, I just started scrubbing on the blue thing, which was my bruise, and so I probably made it a lot worse. He said, don't touch it, don't scrub. Don't even scrub the end of your toes for a while, because the skin's falling off faster than it's growing back, so you're going to grind down to the bone. He didn't say grind down to the bone. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. I said that. But anyway, where were we? Okay, so anyway, but that was interesting information. The bone spur thing may be interesting for you too. If you know anybody who's got problems with their toes humping up and seem to grow in, it may be a bone spur, anyway. So the chemotherapy problem, gets back to that. So he said I could cancel my appointment because I made an urgent care appointment at my Sierra Medical, my clinic I go to. And I think I told you. And so anyway, I called him up and canceled that appointment too. Now, just so we don't get any other interruptions, before I reset my phone and set it back up with Filmic Pro is the program I'm using on my phone, I hit the do not disturb button. That's the key. And apologize. Well, remember, every time you say you're sorry, you're going to probably do it again, but hopefully less. All right, so let's see, where were we? Overall health, crap. Man, I'm miserable. I can't walk. Oh, that was the other thing. Doctor said stop on the treadmill. Stop the treadmill. So he just said wait. So I think that was exacerbating. So I'm just like, everything I try to do that's healthy or good for me is exacerbating. But I'm not going to cut back on my kung fu. I'll still do my kung fu, and I'll even jump around whenever's necessary, because it's not that much. I don't jump around that much, so that hurts it too bad. I gotta do what I gotta do, So anyway, but I'll do it to a minimum. How about that? So let's see. Yesterday, yesterday I changed the release plan. Did I tell you about that? What was I talking about when the phone went off? I made it so that I think I did. I was telling you that The pre-release is going to be, maybe that's when a phone call ended. The pre-release is going to be the day after Thanksgiving on the Friday, the 26th, I think it is this year. So on the 26th of November is the pre-release. And the song you're going to get is High School Graduation. And then for marketing purposes, this is a great song, and it always sells a little bit. I've got a previous album that I released back in 2015, the American Zhen End of the Line album, which has this song on it. And it always gets a little bit of play, maybe around high school time, graduation time. But maybe it's because I need to make a single. Maybe I got to push it. So anyway, okay, here we go. So anyway, that's gonna be. The only thing I'll finish on that. The last thing the last single is going to be High School Graduation. So in other words, the album release is February 4th, and then on March, whatever it is, the first Friday in March is going to be the High School Graduation single, because it's March, and it'll take in March, and then April, May, and they're graduating. So hopefully I can let's see if I can actually promote that song and make it a classic, finally. So, okay, so there we are. So today I'm getting my act together, doing all kinds of stuff. I just canceled a doctor's appointment. Yay! 100 degrees out there. Hey, I put my cowboy hat on a while ago, didn't I? When did I take it off? Oh, here it is. There we are. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Kung Fu Cowboy here. Oh yeah, let me just read you something and then I'll be out of here. Okay, we're on number 16 in the Tao of Taoism by yours truly, who's also called Buddha Zhen, Z-H-E-N. Here we go, number 16. Being aware of the nature of events. Nature of events. Remember, I was talking about radiation. I came up with, they got a brand new artificial nature they're creating in that machine. Being aware of the nature of events is to accept not only the completion of events, but also the declines of success. To be absorbed by achievements or cling to rewards is to decline with them. So in other words, when I have this success, I can't keep talking about this record forever. Nobody's going to care. I only got a small window, and then everybody's going to say, "What's next?" So that's going to be Scorpion. That's going to be Resurrection. The number, what are we calling it? Second Resurrection. That's my second album. Second Resurrection. So I'm excited. That'll be my second album. Second Resurrection. Okay, so anyway, here we go. I'll read it one more time by supposedly Lao Tzu. I read a bunch of translations, made it up, changed it around, it made sense for myself, and then decided, hey, I should make this for my students. And then I said, hey, maybe I should publish this. So this thing's had an evolution, this particular book. Okay, here we go. Being aware of the nature of events is to accept not only the completion of events, but also the declines of success. Accepting that, remember, you gotta accept it, you can plan for it. To be absorbed by achievements or cling to rewards is to decline with them. Yeah. So anyway, I got to start brand new rewards. Nobody seems to care about what I've done 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Let's see what we get. Anyway, I'm excited. Kung Fu Cowboy out of here. And it hurts to sit here right now.
Made the sound check, it was a guess. Played a couple of songs from the past. The sound man says your bass player has balls, blasting on his Rickenbacker. You really know how to vibrate the walls. Rock me, baby. Ooh, rock me hard. My Marshall's burning and I'm on fire, playing and singing higher and higher, with a smile on my face all night long, blasting all my pouring out my heart into another song. Rock me, baby. Ooh, rock me hard. Oh yeah, rock me. Drummer cracks me up the best with his feet, pounding with his sticks and stomping with his feet. There's nobody talking. Everybody's happy, bouncing in their seat. Rock me, baby.